Yes guys, welcome back to another YouTube video. In today's video we're doing something special where I'll be going through my first year trading results. Now of course in the first year I wasn't journaling as much as I should have been, and so whatever bits and pieces I have from my journal, I want to share that with you and go through it step by step and show you the rights and the wrongs of what I was doing, in hopes you guys can learn through with it as well. And it's just a bit of reminiscing of how far I've been able to come and what I've been able to achieve as well. Now this trading journal contains around £745 worth of my live account journaling data. Now that money at that time, since I was still very young, I wasn't working and I was a full-time student, I had to convince my dad to give me around £1,000 to trade live. And from that £1,000, this journal started when I had a balance of £745. So I'd already lost near enough £250 of my dad's money, and I had 745. And as we get into this video and you see the journal, it was not really looking good by the end of it. But nonetheless, it was a valuable experience, and I did end up paying my dad off that £1,000 eventually once I started getting some more consistent results. And yeah, overall it was a valuable experience and I wouldn't trade it for the world. Now before we dive into my trading journal, I just want to share my come up of trading and how I got into it and what exactly I was doing at that time, just so you guys have a bit of context and a bit of understanding when I show you the journal. So at this time I was probably in my early teenage years. I was studying full time. I was at sixth form, so I wasn't really able to trade New York session or London session like I wanted to because I would be at school. So this was probably during my summer holidays when I had a bit of more time and I was able to trade a bit more frequently. So coming onto the screen over here, you can see my trading journal, and straight away I want to go over and bring you guys, focus your attention onto the P&L. Now, if you look at my P&L, you can see my starting balance was around £745 and 7 pence. Like I told you, the original balance was £1,000, but when I started documenting my trades, the balance was at £750, so around £250 less than the initial deposit. And then if you come on over to my P&L, you can see that I was not risking too much. I wasn't really over leveraging, and I guess that was one of the benefits that I had. As you can see, we took a £4 loss, £14 winner, £8 loss, £8 loss. So I'm risking around, as you can see, 1 to 2%. I'm not risking much, and that's something within my personality which I had, where I was a very conservative trader. Maybe it's because of the fact that it was my dad's money and I didn't want to be over leveraging and risking 10 or 20%, and so I just wanted to stay consistent with 1 or 2% just so I can build up a bit of a track record and so I can get a bit familiar with a live account, since this was the first time that I was trading. So as you can see that I was taking a lot more losses than I was taking winners. As you can see, I've had 4 or 5 losing streaks back to back, and so this trading strategy clearly was not the best at this time. However, the risk management was helping me and saving me, and as a result, the ending balance was around £680. Now this was a Excel journal which I started off with because I remember watching a YouTube video where it suggested to me to start documenting my trades, and an Excel file was the most appealing to me at that time, and so I started journaling all of my trades in an Excel file. And then I also started adding these extra confluences in my trading journal, which was the signals tab. Now this signals tab allowed me to have a few playbooks in my trading journal, so I knew if I was taking losses, I could see which playbook it was that wasn't really working out. And I think for the time that I was doing this, that was very ahead of my time. And now looking back at it in hindsight, it was very effective because I was able to see which playbooks were working and which playbooks were very ineffective. So as you can see, I was taking double top patterns, consolidation patterns, double bottoms, break below EMAs. At that time I remember trading EMAs as well. One of my confluences was timing as well, like the kill zones. And then I've got engulfing patterns. Now most of them, to be honest, I don't really use anymore, these playbooks. I've got more effective playbooks, and I've got around 2 playbooks which I trade with now, which is more of a quality over a quantity. And as you can see, for this trading journal over here, it was more of a quantity over a quality playbook. Now I also took screenshots of the trades that I took, the before and afters, or all 3 time frames. I don't quite remember how I was doing it, so let's take a look and see the screenshots that I was taking. So you can see I had 3 time frames which I was taking. This is still something that I do till this day, which just goes to show some habits which work you should stick with and double down on, and the other habits which aren't working you should just disregard and replace it and try another strategy or try another method. And it's just a trial and error process until you find that sweet spot. So this over here, I've got the daily and the H4, which was like my directional time frame. And then we've got the hourly and the 30-minute, which was more like my structural time frame, where I'll be finding demand levels, supply levels, support and resistance levels, and what have you. And then you've got the entry time frame, which was my 15-minute and my 5-minute time frames. Right, now let's go over my biggest winning trade and my biggest losing trade from this journey and see what lessons we can take from it from the screenshots here. So if we scroll to the left and look at the P&L over here, we can see that my biggest losing trade was £26. That's coming up more than 3%. Let's select it over here. £26.30. That was around 3.6% loss. So that's a massive loss. Let's come on over to the image, the screenshots, and see what was going on there. Right, so here we have it. This trade which I took my biggest loss was on gold XAU USD, and this is the daily time frame right over here. And so this was probably my directional time frame. And now if we're looking at this, we can see that the time frame overall is indeed bullish. If I can edit this over here, let's go to markups, and you can see that overall the time frame was bullish, and then we've seen some sort of top being found, and then we've seen that push down, so that's some sort of retracement. So the daily time frame was definitely bullish. Now what was I looking for at that time? What direction was I looking for? If you come on over here, okay, so I was looking for sells at that time, even though the daily time frame was bullish at that time. So okay, so I guess that was a bit of a mistake that I was making, because the daily time frame was bullish at the time, so I should be looking for buys as the trend is your friend, but I was looking for sells. But let's go ahead and see how the structural time frame was looking at this time. Okay, so this is the 1 hour time frame over here, and what I can see is the fact that I've highlighted this level right over here where I'm looking to take sells from. Now I've seen a push up to that level over here, a wick rejection, and then I'm looking for a selling opportunity. Now overall the 1 hour is bearish, which is good, so we can look for sells. However, I feel like it would have been better if I maybe waited for a retracement back up into maybe these highs over here, which is more of a level of resistance, but I'm taking it more or less in the middle of nowhere. But it's mainly the entry time frame, which with my trading strategy now, which really determines whether or not I should be executing those trades. So if you come on over here and we look at the 15-minute time frame, you can see price has given us a nice break and retest. We've seen a wick rejection followed by engulfing volume bar. To be honest, at that time it makes sense as to why I took this trade, but since the overall direction was bullish, it ended up pushing up and hitting my stop loss. I don't know why I was over leveraging and risking 4% on this trade, but it is what it is. So that was my biggest loss right over here. And now let's take a look at my biggest winning trade. So if you come back over here and scroll all the way over here and go to P&L, my biggest winning trade was £24. So let me deselect all of that, scroll all the way to the bottom. £24, which made me around 3%. So let's take a look at these images over here. All right, so we don't really have the links for that, so let's go for my second biggest trade then instead, because I don't really have the images for that, which is a bit annoying, but hey ho, let's see. The next one was £18.20. That was around a 2.5% winner. Let's take a look at these images. Right, so this trade was buys on gold, and again this is the daily time frame. Let's come on over to edit a markup, and as you can see that the daily time frame is bullish, and I was looking for buys, so that's a plus point, which is something which I wasn't doing in the biggest losing trade that I took. So I guess that's one point to take on board. Then we come on to the 60-minute time frame, and as you can see that price again on the daily time, on the 1 hour, sorry, is pushing up, and now we've broken structure to the downside, so we are bearish on the 1 hour time frame. And as we're coming down, we're sort of consolidating right over here, and then this is where we've created this sort of double bottom, and then I've seen probably a retracement, and it's failed to break that low again because of this liquidity grab. So I guess on the 1 hour time frame, we've seen this double bottom, we've seen another liquidity grab, and then we've seen the break of this descending line, which I don't use anymore, to be honest. I don't use the trend lines anymore, but I can see why I've taken buys, and I've also got this blue line highlighted over here, which again, it suggests that the 1 hour time frame is holding. Now, one of the things that I have changed is the fact that I only focus on recent price action now, and I don't really focus on further back on random levels of support. So over here, what I've done is I've highlighted a random level of support which has been holding, and so when it's come back to retest it, I'm looking to take trades off that, which is not something that I do anymore. I'm more focused on recent price action, and so what I see now is more so the fact that price is failing to create that lower low, and we're failing to push down, and so I see volume shifting. That's more so what I see now, but at that time, I guess it does make sense because it was more of the conventional support and resistance type of trading. And now if we come onto the entry time frame, which in this case was the 15-minute, let's see what I'm doing over here. Right, so I've seen, let's go, so I've seen this liquidity grab come right back up, and I've managed to enter in on this wick rejection. So I'm not sure what caused me to enter on this wick rejection, if this was a buy limit or what have you, but I've got stops below these lows right over here. This was a beautiful entry, wick rejection entries. We've pushed up, and I've managed to hold and close out right at TP right over here. Not sure why I've got my TP over here and not higher up based off my structural level, but nonetheless, this was a nice 2.5 winner from those times. So hey, it's a solid win. Now, for me to get a bit more context as to why I've taken these trades, because I am a bit unsure as to what sort of setups that I was looking at that time, because my strategy has evolved a lot more. I have a comment section on the far right hand side of my journal which further explains why exactly I've taken that trade and what things I can improve on. So let's check that out. Right, so if you look on the comment section right over here, you can see exactly why I've taken what I've taken and any further comments. And so if we take a look at that £24 loss, which we went over, the £26 loss, which is right over here, and we scroll to the right, we can see the reason I've taken that loss is due to the direction, and I was spot on. Like I said, the daily time frame on gold was bullish, but I was looking for sells, and so I wasn't really sure why exactly I was looking for sells at that time. But I guess even at that time, I noticed that my direction was wrong, and maybe the higher time frame was the thing which I was concentrating on. And so I've written a one-word comment saying direction, so I guess that's a bonus there. And now if we come on over to the £18 winner, which we've broken down, which is £18.20, let's see what the comments are saying over here. So here in the comment section, I've just written no comments, so I guess I was probably quite proud of that trade, so there was no further comments that had to be made, although it would have been nice to maybe add a further explanation as to why I took that trade, because I'm a bit unsure if this was a buy limit for me to get in on that trade with the wick entries that I got, or what it really was. But nonetheless, it was a solid trade. But anyways, guys, that's basically my journal, my first year of trading. It clearly wasn't the best. I had a lot of losing trades, although my risk management was a plus, and the fact that I had a journal and some sort of screenshot images which I was able to document and help improve my trading and my psychology. Although I was taking loads of losing trades and a lot of losing streaks, it was a good learning curve, and I've definitely come a long way from this, and definitely journaling was a huge part of it, and that's why you might hear me preach a lot on my YouTube channel to journal, and that's why I've now got a nice solid, well laid out journal on Notion. If you guys are interested in seeing my up-to-date journal, which is as of 2024, be sure to drop it in the comment section down below, and I might make a comparing video and contrasting this journal from here to the current journal that I have, and so you can see the vast difference and the sort of data I'm collecting now as well, which will definitely be another beneficial point for you guys to learn from. But anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this video. If you did, be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next time.